Welcome to video 3 of chapter 4. In this video, we're going to talk about another characteristic of coaching that I suggest to integrate in your management style, and this is to provoke. Now, you may object that I have been saying not to fall into provocation when somebody provokes you, because by doing that, you give them the power over your choice. I like to make a distinction between the two types of provocations. The one I was talking about before in prior chapter is connected to the concept I've been stretching throughout the course, which is the sum zero game. This happens when somebody wants to take advantage of you to get you off balance. That type of provocation is based on the sum zero game and is meant for the other to take something from you. What I'm talking about here, it's a different type of provocation. Now, let's go back to the root of the word provoke. The word provoke comes from the Latin word provocare, which is call forth and challenge. So we can say that provocation is the instrument for challenge. Now, like manipulation, provocation is just an instrument. And the reason you use it for, or how you relate to it, will determine if it is a good instrument or a bad instrument. In fact, when I try to manipulate you to get something out of you, that's a malicious use of manipulation, which I believe we should be able to detect and interrupt. But on the other side, when you go through a training, when you go through a learning process, you are requesting to be manipulated by the trainer such that you can learn new skills. In that case, also manipulation becomes a good tool because is the art of including in the abilities of the other new skills. But this is requested, and manipulation comes as a service. Even by going through this course, the objective is to learn new skills to be able to take the concerning issues in a different way. And so you're asking me to help you do that. And in this context, my manipulation is invited by you to learn how to do what you need to do. So, to go back on provocation, there is a way in the sum of positive number game to use provocation to challenge the other to be the best they can be. And the difference is radical because when I provoke your mind to think for yourself, now provocation becomes the instrument for me to push you towards what you want to achieve. Now, one of the forms of provocation we are used to see is the one that we see on the movies about the Navy SEALs or some army training when the sergeant screams in the face of the cadet. Now, that type of provocation works with some people and doesn't work with other people. I remember when I was in the army, it didn't really work for me, but I've seen a lot of people around me aligning themselves with what they had to do and doing their best through that type of provocation. Now, I'm not suggesting one specific style of provocation. What I'm suggesting is to provoke the other to be the best they can be. And that's the coaching concept of provocation. Provoking the other to think for themselves. And in doing that, helping the other reason through what he is doing in a new way with new tools, such that by himself or by herself, they can take care of what emerges from then on. So I believe when we get in a team context, provocation has to be based on a sum of positive numbers game. I wouldn't go in the direction of the scorn or making fun of people with the intent of provoking them to be better at what they do. I would be very sensitive to who's in front of me and what type of provocation would serve them better. And I'm using the term serve because when I provoke the other in this context, I'm doing it in their interest, which collides, by the way, with my own interest, which is for the other person to do a good job. When I provoke to get people off balance, I do it touching their insecurity or their frailties. When I provoke people to become the best they can be, I do it challenging the effectiveness of what they're thinking in the moment, challenging the way of thinking that brought about the experience of life that the person lives in the moment, in the present. So, when the challenge takes place in the context of supporting each other and being the best we could be, it's not only accepted, but often it's requested. And that is a great support because both sides get something of value out of it. So, provocation and manipulation are just instruments. Now, it's like thinking because you bought a Ferrari, you know how to drive. You must pay attention on what you do with the powerful instruments. And whatever you use it for will determine the outcome. So, it's not about the instrument, it's about what you're using it for. And provocation is the best tool to help each other to be the best we can be. In the context of challenging your team to become the best it can be, I would spend few words around the language we use to be able to do that. Now, there's a language combined with challenging people, and we all respond to the form of language that it's more like ours. And I believe that we have to pay attention on how people prefer to be challenged. Because on one side, when you challenge somebody, you are stretching them beyond their comfort zone. And that's already uncomfortable in itself. If I create an uncomfortable language and I combine it with the request of getting out of your comfort zone, people might tend to resist that and they might tend to react to that as if it was a provocation that tells them they are not worth enough for you. So, language is actually the most important vehicle for a good challenge for your people. And I can't really give you a preset language that works for everybody because each one of us has their own preferred way of being challenged. And to be able to detect your team's preferred way to be challenged, it's your job as a leader. It's your job as an observer of the team that you have and the potential that the team holds in itself, and how can you drive that potential out and turn it into results for the company and satisfaction for your team. So I'm not going to tell you what to say, but I'm going to tell you pay attention to the way you deliver your challenge, because that is where you're going to make the difference. So if you see people resisting your challenges, it means that in your language there is the form of provocation that touches the insecurity of the other person. So be sensitive and start to practice. In fact, we're at the task moment, and I like for you to practice provoking people to become the best they can be. And I like for you to do it in the context of a collaboration where it's not only your interest that the other person becomes the best they can be, but it's also their interest. Once you combine your interest and their interest, then it's time to practice challenging and provocation to exit the comfort zone and enter in a space of creativity where a lot of solutions lie and are waiting for us to go there, engage with them in it. So practice challenging your team and practice challenging yourself also, because whatever we want to do with others, as I said in a prior video, we must start with ourselves. Begin by provoking yourself, by looking at the effectiveness of what you do, and start to find ways, different ways from the ones you've used up until now, and experiment them and see if they work better of the ways that you've been using up until now. Then send everything on the logbox to me, and I will be glad to add my comments and coaching. I'll see you in the next video.